right. Well, welcome to episode 2 of The Story That Matters. I'm your host, Ezekiel Drews, festival director for MIFA, as well as the CEO of Lucid Films. This is all big, one big happy entity underneath Lucid Cinema. With me is a man who I feel I have to introduce, even though he could introduce himself. I have Dan Davies, an internationally acclaimed and award-winning actor and writer, also known for passing out semi-nude while drunkenly hugging a llama at Junior's Petting Zoo in Wapaka, Wisconsin, July 5th, 1995.
Yes, that's a true story.
And you are also the star of A Trip to Jamaica, the #1 Nollywood box office film of all time, which you won a Golden Movie Award, one of the top 3 awards in all of Africa for Best Supporting Actor. You are the first and only American to win. Congratulations on that. I'm pretty sure
Thank you.
there are at least 1 or 2 Africans that were emotionally harmed during
So
that
was Eric,
production.
so was Eric Roberts, so was Danny Glover, so was Vivica Fox. They
Yeah.
were nominated. Actually, they never won, but I did. So it's like, nah. When I see Danny Glover, I'm like, ha ha.
God. But Vivica Fox, I saw that on your website earlier, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh, that's pretty good. So congratulations to that.
thank you.
You're also the writer and co-producer and star of Ed Gein the Musical, which came out 2010. You're the star of the film West of Thunder, which I have not been able to track down a copy of. So if you can slip me a copy of that, I'd love to watch that. You're also the director and star of A Forest Dark, which is the short film or documentary film that you had submitted to MIFA, the Milwaukee Independent Film Awards, based on the Amazon bestseller by Samuel Thomas Johnson. You're also the host of the National Independent Film Association Awards, or NIFA Awards, which is our big sister festival, now in its 6th year running. And also an executive producer and star. I don't know if you're also directing as well, the Rise of Dearmageddon.
I am one of the co-executive producers, one of the co-directors, one of the co-creators of it. I'm also the lead in it, and yeah, and you're in it too.
Yes, I'm happy to be in it. Another thing that we're in together is The Lion and the Narcissist, which there's a film premiere coming up here really shortly, which I believe you were also executive producer as well as star in it.
One of the leads, yep.
And then you just also happen to be a very large supporting actor in a little indie film called Happy Birthday.
Yeah, where I play a deranged president.
Yes. Now that introduction in itself, just with what you've done, is kind of crazy. That took maybe all of 2 to 3 minutes. So you've got a long storied career, which kicked off with being semi-nude while drunkenly hugging a llama. Just a couple warm-up questions for you. We'll try to keep this softball for you. You seem to end up semi-nude often, especially with kittens or llamas. So why not just go full nude and get a role in an HBO drama?
That's a great question. In July 5th, 1995, I was with a bunch of buddies. I was about, 6, 7 years out of college, and they were just college buddies. And we've been partying all day long, and we went to JR's petting zoo, and they had this llama that was always like eyeballing me, giving me the eye. So I was like, And they kind of let me run roughshod at their, bar as well as their petting zoo. So I was like, well, shit, I'll just go and see about this llama. So I walk in there and pet the llama's head, and all of a sudden, after a day full of drinking, and I'm tired too because we had drank the night before, I just fell asleep. I fell asleep hugging this lovely llama, and we became real close friends. And as a matter of fact, we started dating for about 2.5 years, the llama and I. Her name was Lily the llama, and we got close. And then, but we realized that we didn't have a lot in common. First of all, we're
incompatible.
We don't, practice the same faith,
that's big. It's big.
Yeah, and she would spit a lot on perfect strangers, and I was like, hey, Lily, the llama, stop that.
You're jealous of that Haktua, that
yeah, geez. Yeah, that girl. Wow. But yeah, I
Uh,
don't go fully nude because there'll be kids available. I mean, there's kids around, and I just want to always, at least at the bare minimum, wear a lime green speedo. One of
right.
those weenie hammocks, and so then I'm covered because I don't want to be, gross or get arrested fully because then you can just say you're sunning yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, the good
and
news is if you do the lime green, then they can do a green screen over your
that's
shop in
right.
whatever they want. Um, I do have a film idea for you. It's about an alien who comes to Earth and falls in love with Bigfoot, has a baby. Would you be interested in playing the part of Bigfoot?
And I have already actually. I played in Colorado. We have a TV pilot called Weird People in Weird Places. They put me in a gorilla outfit. So I'm like a
Jeez.
6'1", 6'2" gorilla in the 13,000 feet above sea level during bear hunting season in Colorado, which was stupid. So I have played Bigfoot, but yeah, it's one of those things where, when people find out or somebody says, "Oh, I saw your film on Hulu or Netflix or, Amazon Prime or PBS or whatever," they're always like, "I want to be a filmmaker too. Hey, Danny, I want to be an actor and a filmmaker too. I got this idea, for a film. It's Chris Farley is an alien. Boop, boop, boop. And all of a sudden he eyeballs this Bigfoot, curvy Bigfoot, beautiful Bigfoot. And they fall in love. It's called Alien Farley Baby. What do you think? Oh, dear Lord, leave me alone. People just and I tell them it's the hardest thing in the world to do. When you choose filmmaking as your profession, you're learning so many different things. I tell people too that if you do decide to study filmmaking, you're going to study composition, you're going to study English, writing skills, you're going to understand electrical lighting, sound, every single thing that makes us literally a kinesthetic human being. You'll learn in filmmaking, and you want to learn on those things. So it's tough, but then people after a while just give up. It's hard. You have to be persistent, doggedly persistent.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. And I think that actually ties into the next question I had for you, which is what's the best filmmaking advice you've received? And what's the best advice that you have given or could give to aspiring filmmakers?
I did this BBC interview for a trip to Jamaica, and some of the people there through BBC London and BBC Nigeria had seen some of my films, and they said, "How do you like? What's your key to success? You don't live in Los Angeles; you live in the Great North Woods." Because they kind of knew. I told them north of Chicago. We live in Wisconsin, and I said, "I'm just too stupid to quit." And that's the biggest advice. Just be dumb and doggedly persistent. It's, Sir Winston Churchill, when he said the keys to his success were never, ever, ever quit. And I'm just really too stupid to quit. That's probably the best advice I could give somebody. Another piece of advice I could probably give somebody is run for the hills. Don't do it. It's fun, but it's the most time consuming, the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life. People just don't understand that even like pre-production, when you're trying to get one full day, we shot Dearmageddon, the Rise of Dearmageddon, and that's my fault too. I should have known we weren't going to do it in a 9-10 hour day. It ended up being a 15-hour day, but that's endemic to film. That happens all the time. People know
Mhm.
that going in. It's the days are long. It's hurry up and wait. It's not glamorous at all. I mean, the premieres are glamorous. The travel is glamorous. I've been all over the world, and that's pretty fun. Um, but it's a lot of hard work, and it's months and months and months of work. Even the line in The Narcissist, I was talking to one of our executive producers, and I had to do what's called culling. That means you actually look at every single take that you've had for this full-length feature film. It's almost 20 hours of raw footage.
Mhm.
Excuse me, over 800 takes, and you have to watch every single one of them. And I try to watch them 2, 3, 4 times because I'm ranking them and rating them. I put it in a book, and I do that. That's the hardest thing in the world because then the editor, you hand it to the editor, and then he's got it made in the shade because he's just picking out. Oh, he's already picked out the best of the best,
Mhm.
and you've saved your editor at least 60 to 80 hours of hard work by doing that yourself. And when I rank the takes, I always rank is the lighting good, is composition good, but most importantly, how's the acting, and is the story being propelled? You know, because you always want a scene to kind of propel the narrative and the story. So I rank it on every single one. I filled out a whole thick notebook to give our editor, which is that's half the battle right there. And people don't realize that too, that just it's so darn time consuming. I don't know, what was your question? I got a little
No,
foggy head
so I
over.
said, what's the best advice that you received, and then also the best that you could give? And I would say that you gave in that there's a treasure trove of many different
Oh,
things, especially for any aspiring filmmaker. I know that when we shot Happy Birthday, we had 20 plus hours of footage as well,
yeah,
and that was definitely something that I know that Joe had to sort through entirely, and was doing all the editing and all the color grading and all that stuff. And so that's definitely a good take, that there's a lot of work that's going to be put in. I think what you said before about scheduling,
yeah,
the best laid plans are always basically met with some type of resistance. When we were filming that, the first few hours, just that one scene, it seemed like it just for like what should take just like a very short amount of time, there was always something wrong with lighting, or
yeah,
hey, this isn't working, we need to fix this. And it's amazing that when you're trying to get things lined up perfectly, sometimes things take way longer than what you would think for a piece of script that's only like this long.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's
It's incredible. I mean, average work days are 12 to 14-hour days on a set. And when
Mhm.
somebody comes in and is shocked by that, I said, no, it's incredibly time intensive because you're battling so many things. You're battling the bar is going to only be open you're for the location for this amount of hours. So you have to juggle people's schedules. You have to juggle, location schedules, all kinds of stuff. I think one of the things, that old joke, some of the best pieces of advice are, don't fry bacon naked, and I take that one step further. Don't fry bacon naked at your grandmother's house because it doesn't end well. It's terrible,
Yeah.
especially when you're fully grown and 26 years old and drunk and hungover, frying bacon at your grandma's house, totally nude. Just don't do it. Your
Was grandma
kids,
there, by the way, or no?
what's that? No, they're all in
So,
heaven.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
my grandma just died a few years ago at 97.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. If she were alive today, she'd be, oh shoot, 105, I think, around. Yeah, but she lived to 97, almost 98.
Grand
But
old lady.
yeah, but I wasn't nude. Well, as a kid, as a baby, I was nude at the house because they watched us. But does my toupee look okay?
Yeah. Looks
Okay.
looks fantastic. How's my hair? Just
Yeah, looking good. Looking
I'm
good.
I'm all shaved compared to when I
Well,
saw you
that's
less than
kind
a
of
week
what.
ago.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks good. You're feeling okay with
Oh
everything?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
okay,
I'm
good.
good. Yeah. By the way, can you do, just for so we get it out for posterity, can you do the Liam Neeson voice for me?
Um, yeah, let's see. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Um, what I do have is a particular set of skills. I've acquired these skills through many, many years. That's my Liam Neeson. It's because of my COVID. My
Yeah.
voice is lower register, but I always like that. What was it taken when he's on the phone?
Yeah.
A particular set of skills. It's like
Yeah.
Yoda if he was, or William Shatner. Let's say James T. Kirk calling somebody. I have a particular set of skills. Spock, Spock. So it's the same movie, but it's William Shatner playing Liam Neeson, or
Yeah.
Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was up for that role. So Bill Clinton was like, I believe I have a certain set of skills, and Monica Lewinsky can attest to that. Whoa, what the hell? Where did that go?
Oh boy.
Snap. Hey, I'm high on aspirins because of this 160 temperature that I have. So you have to bear with me, Ezekiel.
60-degree
But at
temperature.
least am I
I
being
sure hope
clever?
not.
Yeah, bear. Bare instead of Bear. But yeah, I'm sorry. Keep going. I'm
Yeah.
just,
No worries. And I think you got to hear my Christopher Lee. I like to do Ian McKellen
yeah.
too. Like I always have to do the Lord of the Rings in my head, like, in the sick of the sea of fire, wielder of the flame of Unlock, dark fire will not avail you, flame of Undune. You know,
That's
I love,
very good.
I love doing
It's
voices
very
and
good.
stuff. So we got to get together and like just
Do
do
some
like some
voices.
off the wall voices, reading some different scripts from different movies where these people would never meet. So
Well, I wanted to do like if I could ever get my Morgan Freeman down really well to leave like outgoing messages. I did do it for a couple friends where I pretended I was Santa,
yeah.
and they would pay me like for in food and drink, which at the time was great. So I do the outgoing message. I go, ho ho ho, I'm Santa. Ron and Faye aren't here right now. They're in the back, and I'm showering with my elves. You know, just something like that. Like, please leave a message. So, and I'd like to do that as, you know, Morgan Freeman would be just hilarious and make it very personalized, you know,
Yeah.
but I still don't have Morgan where I want him, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, you'll get there. You'll get there. All right, let's move on ahead here. So Forest
Or
Dark.
you sequel.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
no. Hey, we could do this all day, all night. But a Forest Dark. So
Yep.
official MIFA selection. So
Yes.
congratulations on that.
Thank you.
We really liked it. What are you guys hoping people take away from this other than
Yeah.
your Chris Farley impression?
First of all, thank you. And I was honored when Milwaukee Independent Film Awards picked us as an official selection. That's really cool. It was our fourth award. We won a Hong Kong Film Festival, the Rome International Film Festival, and the Madrid International Film Awards. And now Milwaukee Independent Film Show is really, really just a huge feather in our cap. And we're going to be down there in Milwaukee for it. What I wanted it to be, it's based on the book A Forest Dark, and it's essentially a documentary shot of how this author got a hold of me. He's a guy that worked for the FBI starting like about 1970 until about probably the mid 1980s. He also worked for NASA.
Mhm.
And what he was prior to digitized video, the FBI hired him to deconstruct crime scene uh, videos. They started putting up videos, cameras up in the late 60s. And the FBI would monitor these things because someone would send it and go, somebody got murdered. And they said, oh, please send us, the FBI. And they said, well, we have a problem. It's a non-human invisible entity. And they're like, what? So they didn't know how to deconstruct it. They didn't even know how to wrap their heads around it. So they hired Sam Johnson, who worked for a local police department, and they got his attention because what he was doing was taking all the mugshots of every single person in the state and putting it into like an IBM 1969, huge vac computer. And he was able to do a facial recognition way before the FBI was. He did a mathematical equation to grid the face. And because he knew that video was going to be ubiquitous and everywhere, if you could have this, never made any money on it. But the FBI hired him and he worked and saw some things that were just incredibly bone chilling. And he had no explanation for it. And then in 1976, he started working part-time for NASA for the Viking 1 and Viking 2 probes that were sent to Mars. And they were taking thousands of photos. And he was the first person to see it before they were released. And the federal government basically told him, if you see something that is not of the hand of God, meaning, natural rock formations, 180-degree, something that's man-made or alien-made, you need to occlude it. You need to cover it. You need to make it look like it's part of the natural landscape. And I guess he saw all kinds of crazy stuff, buildings, all kinds of crazy stuff. And he postulates that aliens might be demons. It's crazy, some of the stuff that he had seen. But the book is called The Forest Dark. That's the first book in a trilogy. He's writing the second one. I want that to be a TV show. I want the documentary to be behind the scenes of us traveling with the book, because certain supernatural things happen when we've done it before. But then I also want it to be a standalone. So I wrote a screenplay based on the book, and which I really want to get produced as a full-length feature. And that's just bone chilling. And it's basically Sam's life. It's inspired by the book. So very excited for that. We're shopping it around. I just am so busy. I just, like you, Ezekiel, you know, when you get into the film business, 12, 13, 14 hours a day. Your wife, Steph, must be like, where's
Yeah.
Ezekiel? And your kids, all 19 of your kids are like, you know, where's dad?
19. Two's enough. But yeah, so you're talking about, so it deals with the occult. Obviously
Yeah.
you said you know aliens might be demons. You know, what are your thoughts on you know those kind of things like demons invading and possession? Um,
Well, if you think about it, when God had created all the angels, Lucifer is a fallen angel, and basically took care of the music for God. And when pride overtook him and he took 1/3 of all the angels, um, the one thing it says in the Bible to have a fear of Lucifer, an actual respect, which is very odd because he's
mhm.
so, but he's that powerful. You have to fear his power. You have to respect his power that were literally God given when he decided to go to hell and say screw you. And so it's weird that when we start seeing things happening in the skies and UFOs, and very quickly, I was just reading this a few months ago. A UFO was captured in Las Vegas on a police dash cam. These two guys, two police officers pulling somebody over. You see this streak of something in the sky. And one of the guys says, is that a meteor? You know, meteorite? He said, no, it's not. He said, it's something else. Well, then they get a call 20 minutes later. And it's this family, a grandma and grandpa with kids. And there was like 10, 12 people in this house. And they called up 911 in Las Vegas. They said, a spaceship landed in our backyard, and they were like totally freaked out, and they're absolutely freaked out. And this young guy who's about 20, 21 years of age gets interviewed by one of the local television stations in Las Vegas. He said, what did you do? He said, well, I went out there because my whole family was petrified. He said there was this feeling literally like it was freezing us where we couldn't move. He said I could barely move. I went outside, one of the doors opened, and this giant came out. And he said, it's a demon. And the reporter's like, what are you talking about? He says, I know it's a demon because I rebuked him in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. And he turned around just like that and went back into his spaceship. And he said, this thing went from being very nefarious and evil and ready to do him harm on some level to him rebuking him. So, and there's an astronaut actually that talks about this. He's witnessed and talked to 400 people supposedly that have been, you know, captured and kidnapped by UFOs. And he said they say the same thing. They go, these creatures are nefarious. These creatures are evil. These creatures are from hell. They are. So
Yeah.
Sam Johnson in his second book is going to talk about that, you know, because of all the stuff that he saw with the you know the spirit that inhabited that teddy bear originally. He's seeing it on Mars and on the moon. He also deconstructs photos on the moon. So really brilliant stuff and really scary shit. But
Yeah.
anyway, I digress, Ezekiel.
Yeah, no. So A Forest Dark, and that's available on Amazon. Is it a hardcover or is it just PD, you know, or Kindle,
Yep.
or what are we
So A
looking at for
Forest
that?
Ark by Samuel Thomas Johnson. My publishing company, Renegade Press, publishes it. It's located. You can get a Kindle version or a paperback version. I don't think I have an AI audiobook version yet, but a Kindle, and it's about 200 some pages, but it's a fascinating read. We're gonna make that into something bigger, a movie or a mini series. But it's again it's I'm working on 12 projects all at once.
Hmm. Yeah.
Ezekiel, how that feels where you're,
Yep.
semi-nude kitten juggling.
That's
And
right.
all you're wearing is a smile and the kittens are semi-nude.
And the lime green Speedo for sure.
Yes, with Converse high tops.
That's right. So you can show it off at the same time because they got to know that you got your slicks.
Yeah. I mean, my kicks and my slicks, and those things are collectible. Those old school Chucky Taylors, Converse, and they look good. You've never seen a man naked wearing those, have you?
Not yet. I'm still young enough in my life that that could still happen. On that note, I do want to move on to something that's coming up next month. So we touched on it earlier, the premiere of Lion and the Narcissist.
Yeah.
Where is that premiering? How can people see it? And what's it about? And who's it targeted towards?
So it's a feature-length film that we made. It's a low budget but amazing movie based on an Amazon bestseller. And we're looking at September 21. We hit a little bit of an impasse. And I'm gonna have to kind of hustle through it. So I'm still shooting for September 21, but it might be in October at the West Bend, excuse me, at the Shobert's Theater in Hartford, Wisconsin. The 10-plex is what we're looking at, either September or October. I've seen a lot of the raw footage. It looks amazing. I'm super excited for it. My character is really a great construct too. He's a narcissist. I mean, and it starts literally, Narcissus was a Greek god who would look at his reflection all day long in a pond because he loved his curly hair and strong cheekbones and blue eyes, and just he fallen in love with him. So it starts with that self-love that goes beyond it. It's vanity. When you start loving yourself beyond your family and beyond God, that's where people get into trouble and they become narcissists because it's all about them. They don't give a shit about anybody else. It's all about them. So there's a nice progression of my character in this film, The Lion and the Narcissist. And it's a really teachable moment for people to watch this to say, oh my God, I'm in this type of relationship, or my brother's in this type of relationship. I can help them. There's warning signs. My character even does things when he's knowingly lying. People always have a tell. And it's you can tell when my character is lying because there's a tell. There's all these red flags when you're in a relationship, not to be with that person. No, women can be narcissists as well as men, but you just have to be cautious with it. So I'm super excited for that film to be able to get that across, where somebody can watch it and go, I'm going to talk to my sister about getting out of her relationship, because sometimes they end up in terrible ways as capital crimes, where the man, you know, if I can't have you, nobody will. Bam, bam. You know, double. You know, homicide, suicides, all kinds of crazy stuff can happen. So these warning signs are out there to be vigilant and diligent about protecting yourself. So I'm excited for that, and you're in that too.
I am. I got a nice little part in there that I was able to do. So I look forward to seeing
thought
how
of
that
you
turns
right
out.
away.
Well, I appreciate that for sure.
No. Ezekiel is a hell of an actor, you guys. And he's got an angelic voice. And you're super, super talented. And I love working with people that are equally as motivated as I am when it comes to film. And you've got that in spades, man. You got goals, you've got, you know, set for yourself. This is the next project, the next project. We in Wisconsin, we in the Midwest, we're against the wall, basically. We don't have the luxury of Los Angeles or Atlanta or Dallas or having tax credits, film tax credits, but we do have lovely people, incredible locations, inexpensive, you know, hotels and all kinds of stuff. The pluses outweigh the negatives. Our winters are terrible, but there's a good 8-9 months where you can get filming done. And I wish we had that tax incentive, you know?
Yeah. Well, kind of what you're talking about kind of ties into the next thing. So our between you and I, so we have a cross promotion with NIFA and MIFA. So the National Independent Film Association Awards, the NIFA Awards, MIFA. So we're going to be a little bit later in the year. You're coming up. Is it September? I'm trying to remember.
October 5th.
Oh, October 5th. Gotcha. What can you share at this point for people who are interested in your festival?
So thank you for asking that. We have a quote unquote, I guess, a US or Midwest premiere of an Emmy nominated film called Through the Storm. And it's about 9/11, about 9/11, September 1, 2001. This rock band, this Irish rock band, Black Donnellys from Dublin, Ireland, they were the house band at Mandalay Bay Casino. And they did this film with Jeff Olm, where they went to New York City, interviewed police officers and firefighters who actually saw the Twin Towers topple and all the heroic things that they did. It's a documentary called Through a Storm. And we're going to highlight that. We're going to premiere that there, which is really cool. Plus, we're working in conjunction with local firefighters and first responders in the Fox cities to be there. And we're also getting some original firefighters and first responders from September 1, 2001 from New York City who are flying in to talk about their experiences being there as first responders and policemen and firemen. It's called the Tunnels to Towers 501c3 nonprofit. That's going to be fun. That's going to be amazeballs. We're going to show as many of our trailers for all of our films as possible. I try to get that up and running. Black Donnellys will also be performing throughout the weekend from Ireland, so that's really, really cool, throughout the Fox City. So it's going to be a massive event, and we're going to give you guys lots and lots and lots of shout outs. We premiered Happy Birthday at last year's, and we'd love to keep promoting, promoting this burgeoning Wisconsin film market.
Yeah, that's the goal with with NIFA and with MIFA. That's our goal as well. You mentioned Happy Birthday, so you played the narcissistic president, typecast much, bent on re-election, and despite only filming for 2 days, your character has a very significant involvement setting up the chain reactions that help with setting up the establishment of what happens in the film.
Yeah.
Here we are, we're a year and a half later, and I finally get to ask you 2 questions. What was your experience like on set? And number 2, because this will be the quicker one, did you ever get your Hawaiian pizza?
Oh, that's funny. On set was amazing, and I love working with like-minded people. And another thing too, when you're doing lower budgeted films, you have to feed them well, and it's important to have good food. And this Hawaiian pizza was out there, and I had heard rumors about it. They were taking photos of it and sending it to me. But it was by the time I was done with my role, it was already eaten.
It was gone.
Excuse me. But it was an amazing time. And I really like everybody's subtle performance in it. I was really impressed with everybody's performance, and that connection even between you and the vice president and my character as the president. You can see it's palpable that there's this connection between it's a disjointed, broken connection, but it's a connection nonetheless. It's coming from a massive part of leadership and power to somebody who has all the information that could save millions of lives. And my character's not listening to you. And I love that, where he just basically tells them like it is. We're not going to do this. I'm up for re-election. We're not going to shut businesses down. I got crucified for that. It's really not a fun, but amazing. Yeah, because it's a heavy subject, apocalyptic diseases and things like that, and pandemics. But it's really a good film.
Thank you. We're gonna move on. Ed Gein, the musical, the stage adaptation.
Yeah.
Why now? Why not 12 years ago?
That's a good question. I originally had pitched it to and I won't tell you the name of the theater group, but in Door County, Wisconsin, they've got some really cool theater groups. And I pitched it to this one, but I really wanted Spencer Milligan, my friend who was in Gunsmoke and Land of the Lost, who just recently passed actually about 5 months ago. And this is again like 10 years ago. I wanted him to play the sheriff in it because he's an amazing actor. He's been in Woody Allen films and all kinds of stuff. And they didn't allow that. They said, no, we have to have an open audition. I said, no. If I'm writing this for you guys to have the world premiere, I'm going to have a famous actor in as sheriff. I want Spencer Milligan. 10 million people know him from Land of the Lost and Gunsmoke and Woody Allen films and all the films he was in. They know who he is, and he's doing this for a song for me. So then I said, screw you. And then I just started thinking about it. SRS Cinema bought the rights to distribute Ed Gein the musical, so it got on to Kings of Horror and all kinds of massive national platforms, and we had a theatrical tour of it throughout the Midwest. And I kept thinking, how do I adapt this into a theatrical play? And I knew in my head I already had it actualized and visualized, so it was just putting pen to paper. And it's about 75 minutes long. It's going to premiere in October, maybe early November, at the Little Bakery Playhouse in Manitowoc, Wisconsin. Yeah, it'd still be great to have you as the sheriff. I know we're trying to figure the juggling 12 kittens in the air, as
Yeah,
always. But
semi-nude with a lime green.
yeah.
Um, Also in the line of Ed Gein, so we talked previously. I want to see if there's a heart pulse so we can get a heartbeat of Ed Gein 2, Ed Gein's Big Adventure. Is that still in play?
Yeah, and that's Will Kaiser, who's our music director from Ed Gein the Musical, is really spearheading that one. And he really, I think, did a fabulous job with our music. And he's a very talented filmmaker and editor and writer on top of it. And it's literally based after one of my friends, one of my best friends was a year older than I was. His name was Jeff Walker. And I was a senior and he'd been going to UW Madison, and came back for Thanksgiving. He goes, Danny, guess what I saw? Or guess who my roommate saw? And I'm like, who? And he goes, Ed Gein. I'm like, what? I'm like, did he visit him at Mendota Mental Hospital? He's like, no, 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 no. My roommate was at this bar in Madison and sees this old guy and he's wearing all blue uniforms. So he's thinking this guy's either escaped from prison or from Mendota. And he comes up to him and says, sir, can I help you? And he's like, oh, I'm lost. And he goes, where do you live? And he points and it's Mendota. And he said, well, what's your name? He said, Gein. My name is Ed Gein. So my roommate, my best friend's friend, ran over to a payphone because this is before phones, before mobile phones, and calls and says, we got a problem here. We got Ed Gein wandering the streets. And they picked him up. So I took that true idea, and expanded on it. So it's an adventure for Ed Gein as he escapes from the mental hospital in Mendota. And he has this adventure and he's hell bent to have one normal day in his lifetime. One normal day where he doesn't want to kill somebody or make them into furniture or dig up bodies or do anything unseemly or eat them or necrophilia. He just wants one normal day amongst normal people. So that's his goal. But it's very funny, it's very thought provoking, it's very musically, sonically deep. It's going to be just amazing. And again, we have to raise money for it. So 2025, but Ed Gein the Musical too, I'm really looking forward to it.
Okay, yeah, and obviously with funding and stuff, obviously, it's a interesting subject, being able to get funding for any kind of project. What if people would like to support the project, is there a way that they can help with doing that? Whether it's this one or let's say Dearmageddon.
So what we're probably going to have to do is do some GoFundMe's and Kickstarters to kind of raise the money, or go to specific investors, financiers who can invest it into the film itself, knowing that you can kind of assuage the risks. If for an example, I'm the #1 American actor in the second largest film market in the world, Nollywood. So if I'm headlining a film, I can usually open the whole country of Nigeria as well as Ghana and the diaspora. So we want to take advantage of that. Why not have that? I have to be one of the major leads, and it's also nice to have one of the African actors in it as well, which there's a lot that want to work with me. So having said that, we'll probably incorporate those elements into each of the upcoming films. And but it's all about raising money. It's all about having it financed, because there's so many projects out there, especially in the Midwest, that they're doing it for IMDB credit, gas, and food. I try to pay everybody on every single set to make it worth their while. On the Sizzler, we had to, because it was coming out of our company, Dearmageddon LLC's back pockets, in essence, we kind of had to keep it where people didn't get paid a lot, but with the promise of, if you guys do great, I promise you, because I'm loyal to a fault, you will be in the feature film. If you do me a solid, I always tell people, if you treat me like shit, I'm going to probably treat you the same. But if you treat me well, I'm going to find a way to treat you a lot better than that even. And that's the life I kind of lead. I want people to realize, if they do me a solid, I'm very, very loyal and I'll get them involved. That's the only way to run a business. That's the only way to run a life, is to give, return those favors and give them an opportunity. So that's what we did with Dearmageddon, the Rise of Dearmageddon. And but yeah, so it's all about, we'll start the GoFundMe's, we'll start the Kickstarters, we'll have a business prospectus and a pitch deck for a lot of things, and there will be a lot of buy-ins for it, so that even somebody who doesn't have a lot of money, they can buy into the film as probably as little as $1,000 to
Mhm.
buy into it, and upwards to, you know, a couple 100,000, but all the increments as you go forward. And people just say, well, shoot, $1,000. I mean, that's nothing. And what if it does really well? You triple, quadruple your money, you know, and
Mhm.
it's supporting the arts. And we do that all the time. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And then Dear Begin, obviously, so we worked together on that the proof of concept and stuff. But for what can you share with that? And obviously, unfortunately, we don't have JB or Eric with us on the call
Yeah.
here. But what can you share in terms of the project and what you want people to know about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very cool film, and the sizzler, the proof of concept, is about 10 to 12 minutes, which gives people just kind of a snippet of what the film is going to be. And the film, in essence, is about a guy named Carl, who used to be All-State, All-American quarterback, played in the NFL for 3 years, injured his knees really bad, and then he's just become like this alcoholic. Lost his wife, lost his beauty, lost his hair, and it's me without my toupee, and a fat suit. And whichever you said, you have your fat suit on yet, Dan? Uh, and it's kind of a reclamation project of how he starts the town gets this idea that if their number one hero, Carl, starts to take care of himself and stops drinking and starts working out again and takes pride in himself, that somehow this town that it's been in economic, you know, depressions for 20, 30 years, excuse me, can reclaim itself, can start to get out. And the highway had bypassed New Richfield, Wisconsin, this made up town in northern Wisconsin. It used to be the corn capital of the Midwest, and they don't have the tourism, they don't have the people there anymore. And they come up with this idea of having a rock concert called Cornstalk, basically based on Woodstock. But by the time they've done this, a very shady character played by Eric Roberts, his name is Derek Roberts, with a cheesy mustache, and the brothers go to buy corn seed from him because they've been hearing about this amazing corn seed. Because if they're going to get people there for the concert, they want to showcase we used to be 6 foot high by the 4th of July, not knee high by the 4th of July. And then Eric Roberts, aka Derek Roberts, sells them this irradiated seed, and the deer eat it and they become brain eating zombies, and we have to fight against it. And we fight against it by crafting weapons that are from our heart, the things that we use every day. And because bullets won't kill them, silver bullets, nothing will kill them. So the baker has got his rolling pin that he's used for years to make thousands of cakes, and he puts nails in it. So everybody has their crafted, because they're evil, and evil doesn't like love, and evil will be destroyed by love. So it's really funny. It's a great story of rags to riches, about never giving up on yourself, about God don't make no junk, that we all have an intrinsic inherent purpose in this world, and that we can set our minds to things and get back. And you're never too old to make a comeback.
Yeah. And I get to play one of your siblings in there.
Yep,
So
the youngest one.
that's right.
Mm.
Um, Yeah, great. Thanks for sharing all that about Dear Again. Any other projects that you have going on that you'd like to share about?
Yeah, I've got this film called Without a Name. It premiered in Los Angeles. Filmmakers are from Tokyo, Japan, Los Angeles, and then Germany via Milwaukee. And really a good film. And I play a deranged pastor in it. And I'm the prologue to the film that sets up this youth death cult where they lure kids in, and then the kids get to run amok, and then at the age of 40 they kill them. And it's really kind of weird, and it's cultish, and it opened in Los Angeles. They're going to have some another opening, I think, in Wisconsin or in the Midwest, maybe this fall or this winter. But I'm very excited about that. And they split that up. They made my segment into a standalone short film, and it's winning film festivals. And then now the film itself is winning the full length feature, 90-minute, is winning film festivals. So that's kind of fun. I'm excited about Happy Birthday being all on all the platforms and the streamings and streaming services, and excited for that. And then Yeah, Rise of Dearmageddon, Dearmageddon the musical, Ed Gein the musical 2, the theatrical stage play. We'll be getting a couple more books out in 2025. So it's always, plugging away. It's a never say die attitude, Ezekiel.
Yeah.
Never, ever, ever quit. Dream big, work big, achieve big. If you can conceive it and see it in your mind's eye and believe it, you will achieve it. Words to live by.
I was gonna say that's still some of that advice that you want to give to aspiring filmmakers, actors, anything in the arts, really. Dan, I've got all your social media here in front of me. I've got at Danny Davies for Instagram, Dan Davies on Facebook, dandavies.org is your official website. NIFA-awards.org for our sister film festival with you there. We've got you on Wikipedia under Dan Davies parentheses actor unparentheses, and of course IMDB as well as Dan Davies. So to find more of what Dan has done, track him down on any number of different platforms, or even just open up a keg somewhere and he'll probably show up with a cigar, right?
Well, I will be there. Half cigar will travel.
Perfect. Sounds good. Well, Dan, thank you so much for jumping on with me here. Always great to see you. Always great to talk with you. Hopefully you get over COVID, but you don't get over your Liam Neeson impression at least.
Yeah, it's not as bad as when I originally had it 3-4 years ago, but it's kind of kicking my butt. I have a little bit of a brain fog. So thank you for putting up with me in this, half sick, half-assed state that I'm in. So
No, you're good.
And thank you for everything, Ezekiel.
Thank you. Take care, Dan.
Okay, buddy. Take care.